Welcome to SLW Podcast. Today, we're going to be interviewing Jessica.
Yes. Yes, we are.
So, I think where we left off, we had talked about you up until your teenage years. Now you're going into elementary school.
Yeah.
Or middle school, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You want to tell me a little bit about what that was like transitioning into middle school and where you went?
Yeah. So when my parents started going through their divorce, we had a lot of big changes in our life. We stayed at Bethany Christian School till I was in 4th grade, and then we moved to Baton Rouge after that because we lived only a few minutes away from the school at the time. So once we moved to Baton Rouge, my grandparents told my mom that they would help and they would build her a house next to them and that they would help send us to Parkview Baptist School. So I went to Parkview Baptist in 5th grade, and I'm grateful that I had that time as a 5th grader there because it helped me transition to middle school a little bit easier because I had friends. But it was really difficult at first. I got teased, and Parkview Baptist is not very eclectic in the color of people there. So, and at that time, I knew I understood the difference between black and white people, and so I noticed there was a difference there. So, but going into middle school was pretty difficult because most of the girls there were blonde hair, blue eyes, and just the typical standard at that time in like Hollywood, you know. Mm-hmm. And so I had a lot of self insecurities and just with my body image and things like that. So
you say that humor and creativity helped with that transition?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I loved making videos and movies at that time still, and just skits and things like that. I didn't so much do it with my friends at school, which was, I don't know why I didn't, but me and my friend Carol, we used to draw these comics called Granny Cleavage. And this old lady would have like hair up to here, and her cleavage would be like down to she had no feet. It was just cleavage, and we would write comics like Granny Cleavage goes to the roller coaster. Yeah. And her cleavage would be like behind her. Wow. Granny Cleavage goes to the zoo, or like things like that. So humor really did help me a lot because I didn't excel academically either. Even at Bethany, even though it was a smaller school, I wasn't up to par when it came to academics. Mm-hmm. I really excelled in sports. But
what sports did you play in middle school?
I played, in 6th grade, I played basketball. 5th and 6th grade, I played basketball. And I absolutely it boosted my confidence so much because I knew I was good. Yeah. I was like, I'm quick. I can make the baskets. I can do a layup and all these sort of things. And we played for a league called Upward, and I believe it was through. I
remember that.
Yeah, what church?
Healing Place.
Yes, Healing Place. Oh, okay. I believe it was through Healing Place, and I loved it.
Got to keep it Christian.
Yeah, I know, right? And I absolutely loved it because I felt so confident, and like I was played a lot, and so I was like, this is what I'm good at. And at one point I even was, I guess it was scouted. My dad was like, hey, there's like someone from the state league that wants you to play for them. Oh, cool. Yeah, and that was immediately shut down.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about that, because you had told me before that your mom was like big into prophecy and stuff like that. Yeah. So
my mom always had this idea of what I was supposed to do, and anything that got.
How young did that start?
I mean, I had prophecies. I remember prophecies from a little girl. like me being a little girl.
Like what, 5 or 6 or something?
Yeah, I guess 6, 7. And then just throughout the years from different meetings and churches and things like that. So anything that got in the way of prophecy, it like I couldn't do. So the LA State League, I couldn't play because it wasn't my calling.
And that was made by your mom, you said?
Yeah. And it sucked. I was really disappointed. Like, really disappointed.
How did that affect your, like, climax into confidence in that time?
It sucked because sports were the only thing that I was good at.
Mm-hmm.
I was not excelling academically. I had friends, but, like, we didn't see them outside of school, really.
Were you taking piano lessons during this time?
Yeah. Yes. I believe I started piano back in 7th grade with an older man, Mr. Arthur. So I took piano on and off throughout growing up.
So she kind of had like a program for you that she was grooming you to fulfill those prophecies, and
yeah, like
if it didn't line up, then it was
like
aborted.
Out the window. Yeah. I did softball. Let me say this. She didn't always like say, no, you can't play this sport. But there would be times where it just wasn't like encouraged, like, oh, like, do you want to keep playing? And then not like, no, you need to keep playing. Like, you need to finish it. But if it got to
like a more serious point where it was going to be like,
yeah, then no, like, you're not going to be doing that for a career. And that shows up later on too.
Which was like the opposite of your father, right? Because your father was like big into making sports out of a career.
Yeah, my dad would make me practice at his house, and
which I never got any of that. Like, so that's cool that he actually spent time with you, like practicing the sports that you wanted to be good at and stuff.
He did, and he would, especially. I remember him really helping me a lot with basketball, and like he would like, come here, Jessica, I need to show you something real quick. And I'm like, okay, like a treat, chocolate, candy or something like that. Cause he would give me some treats. And he'd like put the ball to me. He's like, all right, you need to stay out here for like 30 minutes and I want you to practice, make 10 hoops and then you can come inside.
Oh, that's cool.
So
I had an uncle that was kind of like that. He would give us like shooting drills.
Really?
Sean.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it helped so much and it boosted my confidence because you just keep getting better and better. And I mean, I only saw my dad at this point every other weekend. So when I was there and I was playing basketball at the time, he would make me go outside and shoot. So, because he saw potential, you know?
So would you say sports became a way for you to feel seen or to escape?
No, it definitely was a way for me to be seen because I am so competitive. And as I've gotten older, like I kind of like hushed it, but like even if I play sports now, I'm still like, oh, like I'm not as like I wasn't what I once was. I think that's how you say it. But it's still there. That competitive spirit.
But you could be great.
I want to be great. I want to succeed. So yeah, it was definitely a way for me to be seen because I was quick and fast, and I also played softball, and I got promoted to the next grade up. I started playing for the 8th grade team as a 7th grader or something like that, and that was like a big deal. And so it was more competition, but it like challenged me to like keep being better. And I even had lessons in pitching and things like that.
That's cool. So let's talk about your family and your faith and some conflicts and stuff that were going on during this time. What was your home life like during this period with your parents?
It was extremely difficult because there was constant tension still, even though my dad got remarried when I was 10. I had a little brother at this point. So I'm 10 years older than the youngest at this time. And I absolutely adored him. But there was still so much tension in the home, like over child support and just you're letting them do this over here. And so I just was always
Would
walking
your mom
on
like
eggshells.
openly talk about that kind of stuff in front of y'all?
Child support, yeah. Like your dad's not paying, or like, hey, your dad's going to be giving you a check this weekend, make sure you get it from him, or like.
So she would kind of use you guys as the middle.
And it was weird.
Yeah, that's really weird.
And then sometimes my dad would hand it to me and I'd be like, what's this for? And then he'd say, just like give it to your mama or something like that. I hated that. But it got so bad at one point that I remember coming home one day from school, and my mom said, so I have something to tell you guys. Your dad may be going to jail. And again, it was almost that same feeling as when I was 7. Man.
It's like the craving for drama.
Yeah, it was. And I think at this point I was like 12. So 12, 10, and 8 were our ages, me and my 2 sisters. And she didn't even need the money because she had no expenses where she lived at. So my grandfather built the house and like took care of the main needs, but she drew out this thing for us one time, and she had bills on there, and she was like, I'm in the hole. Like, that's why we can't go do this, this, and this, and this. So that's why, like, I need the child support and this and that. But, like, my grandparents, like, set it up for her to live here and, like, to help. But, like... They weren't paying her enough probably to pay the bills without the child support. Yeah. You know, they probably all structured that all to where the child support would make it where she could... Yeah, I know. And your grandpa was, like, a multimillionaire at the time. Yeah. So... Yeah. I don't understand that, how like Christian people can like be really well off and then like just put this burden on someone else who's like obviously like, I think your dad was working like 3 jobs. Mm-hmm. He taught tennis and worked at like a mortgage company and like threatening to send him to jail over it. Like, yeah. And she told me it was like $60,000, something like that. Holding that over his head. Like whenever she like could have been fine if the grandparents would have just like helped out a little more or something. Yeah. Not to like say that you don't need to pay child support, but like if you see somebody trying like their hardest, who just had a new kid, a new wife, a new home, like like give them a little grace. Yeah, I still don't understand that because it was just a means to suppress and punish him. Yeah. And I didn't fully understand it at that time. Like I wanted to see him more. Mm-hmm. But I'm assuming it's at the same time, because I remember being like, I called my dad one time and I was like, why don't we ever see you? Like, you work way too much. And he was just like, what are you talking about? Like, where's your mom? Like, put her on the phone right now. And I was just crying and stuff because I didn't understand. Because she was filling y'all's head with a lot of... Yeah, like, there's just this painted picture for me. Like, he works so much. Like, he's choosing work over this and tennis over you guys. And that's what I believed for such a long time. And so it was nasty. And... after hearing that from her in the car, I just started crying, and I was like, why are you doing this to him? Like, why does he need to go to jail? He doesn't have to go to jail. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, ah. And she's like, you need to stop feeling sorry for yourself and like blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And I remember like I was like, you had a dad. I don't. You can't say that to me. And then just like a self-centered type. Yeah. But like I was being selfish, and she was like, oh, no, you're right. Like, I get it. But then after a while, she's like, you need to stop feeling sorry for yourself and like move on, basically. Yeah. Which, oh lady, that's a lot for a 12-year-old. And I'm going through hormones at this point. Didn't quite start my period yet, but like I'm almost to that point, and just this craziness and like the self-hatred and all that stuff going on. Like, of course I was feeling that way, you know? So would you say that affected your faith during that time? Like, instead of feeling like peace, more like pressure? I constantly felt this tug of war between like, and it's depicted in this movie Joan of Arc, where she would just constantly like go to the confession booth, and like, Father, forgive me, like I did this thing, like, and then would go out and constant guilt. Yeah, it's constant guilt that I felt like. And another way of I would live how I wanted to as a 13-year-old. Like, there was times where like I would tell my my sisters and friends like, hey, let's practice cursing. And then we'd go off and we'd be like, shit, like I can't believe that fucking shit happened, damn. And then my cousin after one point was like, this is lame. Like, I'm gonna go over here.
Which cousin was that?
My dad's sister.
Bri?
Yeah. And she'd be like,
and she didn't grow up in a house like that was real religious like
not
that.
structured like her. She was like, this is dumb. Like, I was so.
Did you ever slip up and say something around your mom, or did?
No, I never said anything in front of my mom. I told this girl called me a bitch one time in middle school, and I was like, shut the hell up, or something like that. And I told my dad, well, I think he told my mom or something like that. And she was like, Jessica, I heard you say that. Yeah. And I was like,
here's some more guilt for you.
Yeah. My dad was like, oh, really? So anyway, I think he wanted to make sure, like, she's not doing that at my house, because, you know, he was so controlled by the environment. Like, she did that on her own or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was a nasty, nasty environment. But,
Did you feel like you were trying to please God during that time, or people?
Both. It was such a struggle for me, like, because I could only listen to certain things at my mom's house. But yet, when I would go to my dad's, like, we would listen to all the things that I loved, like 50 Cent,
Michael Jackson.
Yeah, Michael Jackson, Pussycat Dolls at the time, Beyonce, all of them, all the fun stuff. And then I was only listening to, like, Rita Springer, Hillsong, Hillsong United.
Only worship music, right?
Only worship music, and 92.7.
Did your mom listen to any other music besides worship music?
There was a time where we turned off K-Love. My mom was like, I'm so sick of K-Love. And we only listened to, like I said, Rita Springer, or like prophecy music, or like spontaneous music. I'm going to zoom in on you doing that. I don't remember why. Yeah. And we would like...
At least we could listen to like some rock music that was Christian.
No.
You could only listen to worship music?
Yeah. In like middle school and things like that.
But you got to go to your dad's and like listen to some other stuff.
Yeah. So that's...
Okay. So at least you had that.
Yeah. That was my outlet. So I learned to...
It's getting nervous there.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty... Because I saw my dad every other weekend. So... Yeah. 4 nights out of the month I stayed with my dad.
Thank God. We probably never would have like...
I know. I would have...
You'd have married like some pastor's son, or...
That was the goal.
Jeez.
That was the fucking goal, you know? But I had that freedom at my dad's, and I had the structure and... What's the right word for that? It wasn't structure. The chains and the bindings at my mom's. So, but at nighttime, me and my sisters would sneak and like watch certain things on like TNT or Cartoon Network and stuff. But anyway,
this is kind of off script, but you talked to me about it earlier. You guys had a very sensual like atmosphere at your mom's house. Do you want to go into a little bit of detail of what that looked like and what your mom said it was because of, and things of that nature?
We can definitely talk about that.
Just what you feel comfortable with.
Okay, I will, because it kind of tees up to high school and things after that.
Yeah.
Growing up, so when I was 4 years old, I know this is going back, but I remember this little girl kissed me when I was at the playground at Bethany. And I was very confused after it happened. And I was like, why would she kiss me? Things like that. And so
that happened at Bethany?
Yeah, on the playground in preschool. I don't know where the teachers... It's not a big school. It's not a big school. The playground's not very big.
Yeah.
So, but that happened. And then after that, curiosity just started to develop. And so... there would be different times where, like with neighbors or other kids from the school, if they stayed the night, like we would practice kissing or play house or whatever it was. But there's different things, like you can play house and that's somewhat normal. But when you start to get sexual with it, like kissing and touching, that's completely abnormal. And that's where it crossed the line. Because, it was just that curiosity just started to develop. And
where did your mom say that came from?
Like my dad opening up things spiritually.
Spiritual gates.
Yeah, like seriously, it's because your dad's doing X, Y, and Z. And all of this stuff happened at my mom's house. And I remember she never caught us like kissing or anything like that. But I even saw porn at the neighbor's house at like 7 years old. And that was next door at my mom's house.
Yeah.
And then the curiosity just started to build from there. Like I was like, what is this world outside of what I knew, you know? Why are people doing this with their bodies?
Yeah.
And my mom was very nervous to talk to us about the birds and bees and the periods and things like that. I never got the basis analogy from her, but when it came to sex, it was very just like, boys have a penis, girls have a vagina. That's how you have a baby. That was pretty much it. And then I taught my sisters from there. Like, you know.
Because the curiosity was already like heightened.
Yeah, it was completely there. And
she probably feared you guys being centralized like that.
Yeah, or being molested
which is what cultivated that environment in the home.
Yeah.
Fear, it really produces the things that you don't want.
Yeah.
When you live and operate in that way. And so the very thing that you're trying to hide them from because you're afraid of it is actually what's happening. And you don't even know about it.
She had no idea. Like things started like progressing sexually with me as a little girl, like more than kissing. But I was so afraid. And that's where the tug of war came in with me, because like I craved these sexual things, but I had all these prophecies and I knew this God could send me to hell. And
how did your mom explain sex to you in reference to God? Nothing?
It's between a husband and wife.
Is that was like the gist of it?
Yeah. I don't remember a deep talk with my mom about it. I believe my aunt tried to tell me a little bit more about it. I do remember my aunt was like...
You just knew it was a sin?
I don't think I fully understood that.
Yeah, just because kind of like me, where it wasn't talked about, so you didn't really have any like...
I was more curious about it after it, honestly.
Yeah.
And so me and my friends would talk about it here and there in like 5th grade and 6th grade, but then...
Because I could feel my dad was afraid of it whenever he talked to me about it.
Yeah, she was completely nervous.
It was like, okay, here's a 5-minute conversation, and then we never talk about it again.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, phew, I'm glad I did that.
If we ever brought something of it up, it was like, no, we're not talking about that.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like, that's not funny. We don't talk about that.
Yeah, which is...
like shaming sex, and sex is not a shameful thing
at
all. Like,
it's one of the best gifts that God has given us.
So,
yeah.
So that's the course that took me on. Just more curiosity and more curious about my body. And then not long after that, YouTube came into play. And so it kind of helped a little bit with like questions that I had here and there.
Oh, you would YouTube stuff to find out?
I think I was like 14 though, 13 or something like that.
So let's go into your teenage years, friendship, control, and rebellion.
Yeah.
How did Jesse and Cody influence your idea of what normal life was?
Okay.
Those were your friends, right?
Those were my main friends in high school. Cody was a friend, has been a friend throughout my entire life, basically.
Yeah.
She grew up at Bethany also. And so her mom was very similar to my mom in the beliefs, but even more strict, which sucks. So Cody and I, we were very childlike in our play and very immature in some ways, but like we also liked doing things like talking about boys and
normal girl stuff.
Yeah, normal girl stuff too. And we would walk around outside and things like that. But you could tell the environment was completely different than at Jesse's. Like Jesse's environment, I remember like just feeling more free at her house. And like we would ride horses together, 4-wheelers. We'd go swim in her pond, and she's like, Bob's in here. I'm like, who the hell are you talking about? She goes, Bob's the snake. I was like, I'm not in here anymore. I'd be sitting on her back like, help. So she was so much fun.
Yeah.
And she was more free. And I remember one time she told me like, your mom's extremely like controlling, Jessica. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, your mom's not normal.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if that was a little after high school or right before we graduated, but
was that the first time you started realizing it?
Yeah, that was the very first time. But me and Jessie got closer towards like late 9th grade year. But she was a lot of fun. I felt like I could be more myself with her, and we talked about everything. And so Cody, it was a little more like careful what we could talk about because her mom would listen,
right,
or be around the corner
with like a cup on the door.
Yeah, or tell my mom. Like my mom and her mom would go back and forth about like.
But they weren't really friends. They would just share information, kind of.
They were in cell groups together, and so they were friends. But it was still like, I don't know.
Two domineering religious women can't be friends.
Yeah.
Too close.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'll have more conversation about that later on. But, yeah, so I just felt like we had to be more careful what we talked about.
You want to talk about, like, your first relationship and experience with sex and how that taught you, like, shame and acceptance and stuff?
Yeah, so, again, at that time, it was such a tug of war between, like, what God had for my life and
what you had for your life,
what I wanted for my life. A lot of sex apparently, but at that point,
that's sad because that's like not what a healthy person should be consumed with.
No, not at all.
Like there's so much like there's like I mean I would say like I was a little crazy at like 17, but like I kind of progressed. Like I wasn't thinking about girls or anything sexual up until like 10th grade, 9th grade. It was just like girlfriends holding hand, kissing, but you were like already into like other.
So I never had sex. The first time I had sex I was 16. But the curiosity and like kissing and like touching and things like that was from the time I was like kindergarten. I had boyfriends throughout high school, but I just dated anyone that asked me out because of how insecure I was.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to be liked by someone. And I didn't have to be attracted to them physically. Like, I just liked people who were funny or like, you know.
Yeah.
But I wanted somebody who was attractive. And there was this one boy in 9th grade.
Oh, gosh, here comes the part.
I saw him across the room. His hair was swooped in front of his eyes, and every now and then he would just shake it. And I was shooken on the inside every time he would shake in his hair.
Okay, cut.
You still have a problem? So anyway, but yeah, you were there. I used to write your last name with my name and then hurry and scratch it the fuck out because I was so nervous somebody would see. And then you were gone. Actually, no, let me get to this real quick. You graded one of my papers. I was so excited for you to read how I felt about my father at the time. And it was a poem. It was very personal. And you looked at it.
I had no clue what it was about.
I know. You don't even remember, but it's okay. You looked at it, looked back up at me, and you said like way too much. And after that, I was done with you. I was absolutely finished. But I still thought about you.
What was the song that you used to sing?
Oh, I would go home and I would put on my AirPod, what's it called? iPod. And I'd play Vanessa Hudgens' Baby Come Back. Baby Come Back to me.
I had no clue.
You had no idea that I was thinking about you that much.
But in your mind, I had come and gone.
You
and like
come and gone. You were gone. Then you were really gone at that point.
Yeah.
So, but
I only like had you in that one class, right?
Yeah.
In 9th grade.
And I was so grateful for that class.
For like 6 months.
Yeah, and then you.
That was the only
really
thing
gone.
I knew of you.
Yeah.
I remember you doing like splits in the middle of the class. And like just staying.
I don't remember that.
Like anytime the teacher would be like, all right, let's work on a project together, you would like jump up and be like, all right, and like grab your foot and like.
That is me in a nutshell. I always just, yeah. Yeah, I have friends and
witnesses. I was like, wow, she's extremely outgoing. I'm kind of nervous around her.
She makes me feel very nervous.
I hadn't come out of my shell yet. I was still trying to like get out of my homeschool disabilities mentally.
I just liked getting people's attention any way I could. And academics was not a way I was getting anybody's attention, so I had to do a split or something.